Happy hips after half hour. Just see if anyone else is popping up before we start. Okay, so we're going to start standing and then come down to the mat. So just come back here so you can all see me. And you want to have your feet under the centre of your hips, so in line with the centre of your hips, standing nice and tall. Really feel your feet connecting to the floor, softening the knees, and then drawing up through the inner thighs and up through the pelvic floor, connecting in your centre as you lengthen up through the spine and out through the crown of the head, drawing your shoulder blades down the back gently without any tension in the neck, and just lengthening up through the back of the neck and out through the crown of the head. And as you stand here, we're just going to breathe, taking a big breath in, float your arms up above your head, and as you breathe out, float them down. Just keep that going. Breathing in, wide and full, into the rib cage, and breathing out, connecting the centre as you breathe out. Standing tall as you float the arms, letting the shoulder blades glide in your back. I can see people joining, but I can't quite read who it is, so thank you for joining. Just need one more deep breath, reaching out through the crown of the head. Now this time you're going to float one arm up, and as you breathe out, now you're going to reach out of your waist, up and over, into that side reach, breathing into that side, and then out, coming back down. Other side, float the arm, breathing in, breathing up, lift up and over. So we're just keeping that going, swapping sides. You're not moving from your hips, so try and keep your pelvis still, lifting up and out of the waist, lengthening through the spine, and just gently mobilising the spine to get started. Reach long, try to increase that space between your rib cage and your hip. Last one. I think we've got one more to do this side. Shoulders down, away from your ears. Good. Now with your palms facing behind you, you're going to take a breath in, float your arms up overhead, but only as far as you can keep your rib cage connected to your waist, so you don't want any flaring of your ribs out in front of you. And as you breathe out, you bring the arms down and press them behind you, so you get some opening through the front of the shoulders. Breathing in, breathing out, press back, connecting in that centre all the time. Shoulder blades down, your back, reaching up through the crown of the head. Pressing back to open across the shoulders. Last one. And now as you take your arms up, just want to leave them up there. And then on your next out breath, you're going to draw your chin towards your chest. Start to roll down. You might just want to watch me for this first one. Rolling down, keeping the knees soft. When your hands roughly come in line with your knees, bend your knees a bit more. Reach your arms out in front of you. Lift up through your sitting bone. Lift up through your breastbone. Sitting bones are going out behind you as you come up. Back to neutral pelvis, and then lifting up still through your breastbone to extend through the upper back. Then you come back to a neutral spine, so you're looking straight ahead, shoulders down. And you start to roll down. I'll go sideways so you can see. Rolling down with your soft knees. Then bend them a bit more and extend out through your breastbone, sending your sitting bones out behind you. So you're coming through the extension. Keep your pelvis neutral but continue to extend. And then back to neutral spine and then rolling down again. Rolling down, soft knees, and then extending as you come up, reaching the arms long but keeping those shoulder blades down and back. And again, we're gently mobilising the spine, getting it all moving. Just do one more rolling down. And lift, lift, lift into that extension, coming back to neutral. And then rolling down once more, and this time you're going to roll down all the way. Rolling down, softening your knees, bringing your hands to the mat, and then walk them out so you come into a 4-point kneeling position. Now make sure your knees are directly under your hips, and then hands under the shoulders, spreading your fingers wide, drawing your shoulder blades down the back, and making sure that you're not rounding at all when you're in this position. So if you think of your sitting bones in your bum cheeks pressing out behind you so you get your lumbar curve, and then allow your ribs to float up towards the ceiling but without tucking them, because that will round the back. Just lifting them up and drawing your shoulder blades wide and down. That should bring you into the neutral pelvis and spine position. So from here we're going to release your hips by sending your sitting bones back behind you, keeping in that good tabletop position, and then return. So you only hinge back as far as you can, keeping in that neutral pelvis and spine position. So you don't want any rounding going on. Drawing up through your centre, the rib cage not flaring, abdominals not dropping, so you're strong underneath. So you're just keeping this going, moving in your own range, so not forcing anything. If there's any pinching in the hips, just keep it really small. You don't want to work through the pinching. Tiny hinge back if you need to. So I don't know if you've ever noticed when you're emotionally stressed, often that can manifest in the body and you feel very tight and tense in the body, and that often manifests around the hips. So this is so good for releasing that tightness and tension before you then go to do any strengthening work. Okay, so just do one more hip hinge. Then you're just going to take it halfway back into that hinge and then sway your hips across to one side and across to the other side. Letting your shoulders travel across with your hips, so you're shifting the weight from side to side. Good. It's really strange that I can't see anyone doing this. It's the first time I've done a class like this where I can't see the people. So please listen to your body today. You know your body, so don't force anything. If you're injured, please be careful. You're just working within your own range. If you need to take a break at any point, that's fine, just rejoin. So a couple more hip hinges, and then coming back to that tabletop position. So just check that you're in that good position. Try not to lock the elbows out, you're going to keep them soft. Now we're going to flex the spine, so you're going to tuck your tailbone between the legs, and then flex, rounding the spine, letting the shoulder blades widen, and then hold it here as you tuck your toes under. Staying in that cat position, you're going to lift up through your sitting bones and press your heels towards the floor. Lift the heels, bring the knees down, untuck the toes, and go through neutral and extend. So lift out and up through your breastbone to get that thoracic extension, sending the sitting bones out behind you. Don't worry, no one's looking, sticking your bum out. And then tucking that tailbone back into the cat. Tuck the toes, lift up, press the heels down, lift the tension. And you're going to keep that flowing, flexing, press through your heels to stretch the back of the legs, coming back through with control all the time. Keeping everything controlled. Remembering to breathe, so not holding your breath. And we'll just do 2 more of these. I'm not going to do too many repetitions, it's just half an hour. And around, and tuck the toes. Press those sitting bones up to the ceiling as you press your heels down. Lift the heels back up. And then extending, extending, extending. And then you can just bring your toes together, round your back. Just go into the rest position for a moment. Reach the fingers away, rest your head. Take a couple of breaths there. Breathing wide and full. Good. Now we're going to change position. So you're going to come back up from your rest position slowly. Turn over, come onto your back into the relaxation position. So this is where your feet are hip width apart. That's in line with the centre of your hips. Knees are soft. Letting your thigh bones drop down into the hip socket. So just take a moment to just let everything release down into the mat. Letting go of any unwanted tension. You can then just do a little pelvic tilt. So you tilt in towards the mat, imprinting your lumbar spine. Take it the other way carefully, dropping that pubic bone down between the legs. Moving between those 2 positions, which can help you find your neutral pelvis. So then you want to come into a neutral position. So you should feel your tailbone on the mat, but have a lumbar curve here. So you don't want to be pressing down through your lower back. And letting your ribcage mount into the mat, shoulder blades wide across the back. And reach your arms down to the side of you. There's no tension around the neck. If you like, you can just take your head gently to one side. Bring it back through to centre and then take it to the other side. Bring it back to centre. Now as you breathe in now, send that breath again down through the back and sides of the ribs. So you're really trying to expand your ribs but not flaring them up towards the ceiling. And as you do that, float your arms up to the ceiling. As you breathe out, reach them overhead, keeping that ribcage connection. Breathing in to float them back up and out to lower. So just a couple more times, really focusing on that breath and just gently drawing up through the pelvic floor and abdominals on each out breath so you feel supported around your centre. So nothing is changing in the shape of your pelvis or spine as you float the arms. And then you can place your hands just on the top of your hip bones so you can feel for any unwanted movement here. We're going to take the knee towards the outside of the body, keeping this pelvic stability. So you're going to take the knee towards the outside, your foot will just roll towards the outside edge. Use your centre to bring the knee back through. Then to the other side, same thing, taking the knee out. There's no wobbling around in the pelvis. Bring the knee back in. So alternate sides, taking the knee out, draw it in using your centre. Good. So the breath can really help the movement. Breathing fully into the ribs and drawing up through your centre as you breathe out. Just do one more of those each side. keeping this pelvis in a neutral position. You're going to do a single knee fold, so you're just hinging from your hip to bring the knee up. Keep this pelvis stable as you take that foot back down. As you breathe out, connect in the centre, fold the knee. Breathe in there. As you breathe out, bring it down, keeping that control all the time. So we'll alternate sides, keeping your shoulder blades wide and down in the back. Really focusing on what isn't moving. So it looks like a simple movement, but you need to focus on not rocking around in the pelvis, not arching in the lower back. Good. So, take that knee up. Now you're going to leave this knee here. On your next out breath, find a bit more of your strong centre to bring this knee up. Now we're going to take it into toe taps. So you're going to take one foot down, just tap on the mat and bring it back. Other side, strong centre. So your lower back is going to want to arch as the leg moves down and away. So you really focus on not allowing that to happen. You can always take this back to just your single knee folds. And I'm going to give you another option if you want to add a bit more of a challenge. You go into a toe tap and then into a leg slide. Leave the leg straight as you bring it back in and bend. Other side, toe tap, reach away and draw it back in, then bend. It's just an extra option. If you want to add more of a challenge, you can just take the arms away, so you're reaching your arms up towards the ceiling, keeping your ribs heavy, no arching in the back. So you're able to maintain that stability all the time. And if you're doing a leg slide, really lengthen that leg right out from the hip. So it's stretching out. Last set. Good, and bringing one foot down and then the other. Come into another knee fold and hold at the back of this thigh. Slide your other leg straight out. Make sure you're still in a neutral pelvis, tailbone is on the mat. Hug this knee in towards you and then you're going to stretch that leg up and bend. You're going to keep it moving, keep breathing, and you're not forcing anything. Just taking that leg until you feel a stretch and then release. 2 more. And then take that foot down, slide the leg out from the hip. Bend your other knee in, holding at the back of the thigh. So drawing this knee towards you without letting your tailbone lift away and stretch it out. Nice deep breaths. Good. Still with me? Last one now. And bring that foot down, bring the other foot in. So we're going to be mobilising the spine and working around your hips a bit more now. Make sure you feel your weight through the front of your feet, so through the toes, not just through the heels. So you might need to bring the feet a bit closer towards the bottom. Your arms reaching long, shoulder blades down. Start by going into a little pelvic tilt. So you're lifting the pubic bone, imprinting your lower back into the mat and carefully peeling the spine off the mat, bone by bone, into a spine curl. Take a breath in at the top. As you breathe out, soften your breastbone and replace your spine bone by bone back to the mat. Really work through that lumbar spine, sacrum, tailbone. Make sure you come all the way back to neutral. It's easy to leave it in a tilt. You want to get into that neutral pelvis, tailbone down. So breathing out, spine curl, coming up bone by bone. Taking a breath in here As you breathe out, coming back down, keeping that pubic bone high right till the end. Back to neutral pelvis. This time, you're not going to be tilting into a spine curl as you go up. You're going to stay in a neutral position and go up into a bridge. So, lift up through your hips, straight up, take a breath in. As you breathe out, spine curl your way back down, replacing the spine with straight line, all the way back, tailbone coming down to the mat, and straight back up into your bridge. Now if you feel that you're starting to get a bit tight around the back of the legs, a bit crampy, maybe don't go quite so high, you can bring your feet a little bit closer in towards the bottom. Also have a sense of your toes pressing away from you on the mat. So that can help take the focus out of the hamstrings. Coming up. Last time, spine curling down. Now we're going to take the focus more into strengthening around the back of your hips. So from a neutral position, we're going to bridge up and bridge straight back down. Lifting up through your hips, lower with control. So this time you're just keeping in that same position, no spine curling. Pressing the back of the arms into the mat to help you anchor the shoulder blades. A couple more. Now you can keep going with this bridge repeating. If you want to focus more on strengthening the back of the hips, you can go into a single knee fold, letting the lower half of that leg just relax, and now lifting up into your bridge and lower. Being careful that you don't twist and tilt in the pelvis. Imagine there's a spirit level across your hips all the time. Remember the toes of that supporting foot pushing away from you along the mat. You will feel this working in your back, but if it's straining, please stop, take a break. Keep strong in those abdominals. Last one on this side if you're doing a single leg. Then bring that foot down. Fold the other knee up if you're going to do the single leg, letting the lower half of that leg just relax, keeping your pelvis neutral, so make sure you haven't hiked one hip up higher than the other. As you breathe out, extend fully through your hips, breathe in, lower. Breathe out, lift, breathe in, lower. Keep it going with your breath. Pressing through the back of the arms, but keeping any tension out of the neck. Remember, you can just keep going with both feet down on the mat. Let's just do one more. And bring the foot down. Good. Now you can take the feet a little bit further away from you, still hip width apart. Take the arms out to the side. And we're going to take the knees across to one side, into a hip roll, really lengthening down this side. Breathe into that side. As you breathe out, bring the knees back through. Breathe in the centre, breathing out to the other side, letting your feet roll, lifting that hip up and over. As you breathe out, come back through to centre. So you're getting this lovely rotation around the spine and really trying to lengthen down that side of the waist, keeping the opposite shoulder blade glued to the mat. Keep it going. I'm going to give you an option if you want to give it more of an oblique abdominal focus. You can come into a double knee fold, bring the legs together and bring your arms up to the ceiling. So as you take the knees across to one side, bring your opposite arm down to the floor and bring the knees back through, arm up. Alternating sides. Draw the abdominals in to get those knees back. So your knees won't go as far over because you've got to work harder to stabilise yourself. So it's just an option. You can keep the feet down on the floor and really focus on that lengthening through the waist and the rotation through the spine. Take your arms down, one foot down, and then the other. Roll onto your front now. So you're going to reach your legs straight out. Rest your arms down, rest your head onto your hands, shoulders nice and wide across the back. Being careful that you do keep your pelvis in a neutral position, so you're not tucking that tailbone under and losing your natural curve. Pressing your hip bones heavy into the mat. If you bend one knee now, so you've got your foot over the knee, keep your hip bones grounded in the mat, and then lift up through your thigh bone and lower. As you breathe out, lift. As you breathe in, lower. Keeping the upper half of your body relaxed. Keeping the hip bones glued to the mat. Just 2 more on this leg. Straighten that leg back down. Bend the other leg. The same thing. Pelvis stays neutral. Breathe out as you lift. Breathe in as you lower. So you're not going into a huge lift and your hip lifts off and you twist the pelvis and arch the back. So be really careful to maintain that neutral position. No straining in the lower back. Hip bones heavy. Good. And then bring that foot down. Now take the other knee back up. You're going to lift the thigh as you did. Keep it lifted as you extend the leg. Reach it long and lower. Other side, bend, lift. Reach out through the toes and lower. The same concept of keeping your hip bones grounded. So you're maintaining that neutral position of the pelvis. Reaching the leg out from the hip. Really lengthen. So it's really opening through the front of your hip joint, strengthening through the back of the leg and into the bum. Good. Now we're going to take that same movement into a 4-point kneeling position. So bring your hands under your shoulders. Just push up, round into the rest position for a moment. Reaching the fingers away from your sitting bones. Have a breather. Just a quick one before coming back up onto all fours. So into that tabletop position again. Elbows soft, not locked. So same movement with the leg. You're going to hinge from your hip, taking the knee up, and then bring it back down with control. Other side. Connecting the centre as you lift and lower. This is all about opening through your hip joint, working through the back of your hip. Be careful that you don't twist in the hips. So if you imagine your hip bones have got headlights on that are shining straight down towards the mat. Now we can progress this to fully extending the leg so it straightens out. Bring that leg back in. Then go into a cat, taking the knee up towards the nose as you round the mat. Take the leg back out, fully extending it. You can add an optional press up, so you bring your elbows in towards the body, breastbone down, push up, and then bring that knee back through into the cat. Reach out, fully extending that leg from your hip, pressing down, push up. Now as you go down with the press up, make sure you don't travel forward, your breastbone is coming straight down, shoulders wide, connect to the centre to get you back up. Just do one more. Reach that leg long, bring it back under. Now we need to do the same for the other side. So set yourself up, reach that leg out, fully extended. Bring it back through and then tucking your tailbone, rounding your back into the cat. Reach that leg back out, fully extended. Bend your elbows as you come down. Push yourself back up, use your center. Round, back to neutral You don't have to add the press up if you'd rather, just leave that bit out. Keep your elbows soft, not locked. Last one. Reach long and then bring that back through. Good. Now we're going to come into a high kneeling position. Take one leg out to the side. So you really want to lift out of your waist, out through the crown of the head. You're going to float one arm up and over. Slide the other arm down that leg. Then we're going to go the other way, so the hand comes down to the floor, reach overhead. Use your centre to come back up. Just floating between those two positions. Really connecting the centre to get you back up and over. Try not to twist. Imagine you just sliding between two panes of glass. Then we're going to add some rotation. So leave this hand down here, reaching overhead. Make sure your shoulder isn't up by your ear. Press this supporting hand into the mat. Keep reaching long through the waist. Now you're going to turn the breastbone down towards the mat. So you twist forward, your pelvis stays still. Come back to centre. Turn, twisting backwards. Again, the hips are staying still. Twist forwards. And back. And forwards. And back. And then back to centre. Now just an option here, you can bring your hand behind your head, keep reaching long, and then lift that leg. And lower. Straight leg, keep the waist long as you lift. You can just keep going with those floating arms if you'd rather. Just two more, lift the underneath waist, press that supporting arm into the mat. And now use your centre to get you back up and over. Stretch it out. Bend this knee now. So we're going to go to the other side, same thing. So set yourself up. Reach this leg out in line with your hip. Shoulders down the back. Float the arm up and over. Hand comes down to the floor. Reach. Use your centre. Try not to twist. Imagine you've got those two panes of glass in front and behind. Breathing wide and full. Drawing the abdominals in. Good. Then we're going to add that rotation. So you take the arm over, hold it here. Aim your breastbone down towards the mat, keeping your hips still. Back to centre, twist behind you. Twist in front of you. Twisting back. Twist forward, you're trying to keep those hips still. That straight leg is really reaching long. And then back to centre. Option of bringing your hand behind your head, press the back of your head into your hand, shoulder blades down, press into that supporting arm. Keep the waist long, lift that straight leg and lower. Breathe out, lift. Breathe in, lower. Good. Smile, it helps. Just one more on that leg if you're doing the leg. And then press up, use your centre and reach up and over. And come back to centre. Now try not to use your arms, just use your centre as you step forward. Bring your other leg forward. Coming up to stand. Well done, we're nearly there. Feet under your hips. Feet pressing down into the floor but soft knees. Lift up through your centre. Shoulder blades down the back. Now see if you can transfer the weight to one leg. Take your other leg away. If you can, bring it into a knee fold, but just be careful that if you do that, you don't tuck under and lose that neutral position. Balance there, taking your arms out to the side. So you can hold it here, or take that leg behind you, straighten it out, bending the front knee. Bring that knee back through. And arms down, leg down. Other side, fold the knee. Either holding it here or extend that leg out from your hip. Trying to get as horizontal as you can. Bring it back through, down. So standing nice and tall. Like we did at the beginning, float your arms up as you take a big breath into your ribs. And breathing out, press the arms down, standing tall. One more, breathing in. And out. And then congratulate yourselves on your hard work. Hopefully your hips are feeling very happy now. So, like I said, I teach Pilates a lot online now. I have a studio in East Sussex, in the countryside, but yeah, a lot of my classes, all my classes now are online. So if you'd like to join, you could find me at Kemp_Pilates on Instagram. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to Asquith again for hosting me. And enjoy your day, everyone. Any questions, just pop them on, or you can message me. Thank you.